sunlight all the time, though. It's not like you're ever in shade, so it'd probably hinder mold to a certain extent.
Yeah, but everything under it.
Yeah, that part. But you can't grow mold underwater.
True.
I bet algae would be the bigger issue there. Algae grows on it, makes it heavy, sinks it.
Yeah. Probably would need to source satellite images. What was that for? Don't know. Their new videos said they have unique blood. I'm also curious. Yeah, they're. It's hard to find anything on their blood. It's not something that I could easily find with any certainty. Let's see.
We need a doctor of phlebotomy.
Right. DeWitt says Vikings were there. Val, have you been there?
I've never been there.
You sure? Let's see.
I wonder if the Vikings, I don't think the Vikings ever made it down that far into South America at all.
Let's be honest, we don't actually know where they made it.
This is true. We do know a couple places they made it.
And that's argued religiously against by, we'll just say, mainstream science and archaeologists.
Yeah.
Ex-Comer asked, trout in the lake. I do believe that was one of the invasive species that was brought.
As a food source, probably?
Yeah. I mean, you know how that goes. Hey, we got this better fish. Yeah, just drop it in the water. 10 years later.
Well, that was a mistake.
Right. All right. Gonna hop back into this in just a second.
Their legends claim they had black blood at one point. That's crazy. It does get pretty cold down there. I know that. That's a region that gets very cold.
Yeah, and especially when you're up that high, like it's not a warm place.
And I would imagine on the water too. There's nothing that's really breaking the wind, so I imagine the wind rolling across the lake gets pretty cold.
Yeah, but water also helps stabilize temperatures. So
like lake effect.
Yeah. Let's see, what was I looking for? So we're going to touch on the ruins right now.
Underwater temple of Lake Titicaca.
All right. So since the 1950s, there were rumors of a lost city in the depths of Lake Titicaca. In the year 2000, International Archaeological Team proved the legends to be true. A temple was discovered beneath the surface of the lake just offshore of Copacabana in Bolivia. Along with the temple, there appears to be remains of an underwater city. The buildings are estimated to be between 1,000 and 1,500 years old. So we're putting that back 0 to 500 is realistically where it was, time frame wise, right? Because there has to be people there before to start building this city. So at a minimum.
That would lead me to believe that the lake was empty.
You would think.
They said that this thing's like 250 meters deep. That's where they pulled that core sample out that you talked about in the beginning. They said it was something like 250 meters down.
Yes.
Okay. You're not swimming down there to build a underwater temple. No. Free diving, you're not doing that.
I think the core was 200 or 300 meters. I'm not sure the lake depth. I have to pull that back up in a second. Exploration teams found agricultural terraces and 800 meters, about half a mile of a stone wall. There is also 30 meters of a well-preserved paved road. This is very similar to parts of the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. Divers visited the site around 200 times to properly record the layout of the ruins. More than 10,000 artifacts have been recovered from this temple, including ornaments, cooking utensils. Most are made of gold, stone, and ceramics. Human and animal remains have also been uncovered in this city of Lake Titicaca.
What kind of? Well, I wish I had more information on that.
It's extremely hard to find. I couldn't even find any actual pictures of what they found. Right, because it's all mixed in with other stuff. You can't tell if you're Googling the right stuff or if it's something they found in another lake in the region,
Right.
or if it's from a Mayan or Incan temple. Like it's hard to find what they actually found. So I'm gonna rewind it here for a second. We're gonna talk about the sea life that's there versus how old these ruins are for a second. They have tons of sea life. We'll say allegedly because there's not a ton other than people saying they found them. Freshwater seahorses, a lake that was pushed up millions of years ago, that had glaciers on it, and somehow there's a city under the water.
That doesn't make any sense.
We're gonna kind of visit back to last week's episode when they're redoing the entire human timeline.
Yeah. None of that makes any sense.
Yeah. Let's see.
If they're dating those, I wonder how they're dating the ruins, because they said 1,000 to 1,500 years ago.
Yeah.
That had to have been a dry lake bed at the time. It had to have been.
But the glaciers were melting into it. I can see the confusion and trying to work it out in your head. It's great.
It doesn't make any sense.
Can you visit the Lake Titicaca underwater temple? Currently, you cannot dive or snorkel in Lake Titicaca to see the sunken city. However, the Bolivian government has plans to build an underwater museum. Once complete, this will showcase the relics found at the bottom of Lake Titicaca. The museum will also protect the Lake Titicaca underwater temple. Let's see. It costs $10 million. All right. So that's it for the sunken temple. It's a lot more here.
I wonder if they built the temple on a raft and then the raft sank.
I mean, it would have to sink at the exact same time. Otherwise, there would just be a pile of rocks at the bottom of the lake.
Well, it just slowly sank over time, real steady. Like makes more sense than freshwater seahorses.
You're grasping at reeds here, man.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Right. So I want to touch base before we get into the other ruins with chat here. All right, so let's see. Ex-Comer looks like he went to back to his ex-girlfriend. ChatGPT. He's posting stuff. Let's see what he's got. The lost city of the sun. The Incas believe that a great city called the City of the Sun was located at the bottom of the lake, which is said to hold immense wealth and knowledge. They did say they found a bunch of gold stuff, but everybody's always had a love of gold.
Well, that was one of the things with South America, right? Is it was always the cities of gold, and the amount of gold they had was unreal, and
yeah,
brought Europe over there in a huff.
The Spanish reigned over here pretty quick. Let's see. The origin of the Incas, according to local legend, the first Inca king, Manco Capac, and his sister wife, Mama Aclo, rose from the water. All right, so X-Comer's got some lore for us. That's cool. Let's see. Blander's talking about the Louisiana of South America. It's great. Let's see.
Louisiana.
Dewitt says, look into the language, Runic and Phoenician. I'm going to need to check on that because...
You know, there's I know that there's a theory or model of human movement across the planet, and there's a lot of reasons to believe that people from the Indo-Pacific region, Australia region, sailed to South America, in addition to people from Asia taking the land bridge.
Yeah, I don't have doubts about that at all.
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty likely.
Just looking at all the island chains that were inhabited.
How did Hawaiians get to Hawaii? Hawaii is in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing even close to Hawaii.
No.
That's a brave soul that makes that first trip.
Yeah. Gets lucky. Gets lost and then gets lucky with a bunch of people.
Hi, Linda. Welcome.
I'm going to have to look into that because if there's some ties to the Phoenicians, I definitely would love to touch on that. Okay. Yeah. Excomber says it was 286 meters for the max depth.
That's a deep lake.
Deep.
That's a deep lake.
And like, I know it's a large lake, but like 1,000 feet, you got to figure the rest of this comes up. That's a steep drop off.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So is there
any kind of volcanic activity associated with this lake?
Not that I saw. It doesn't mean there wasn't any in history, because this one always piqued my interest because of how it looks, but nothing I could find documented of any sort of recent volcanic activity. And don't forget, this entire mountain range is formed from the great conveyor belt of the ocean, just pushing sediment on top.
Well, I know that the Pacific Ring of Fire is basically the circle of volcanoes around the Pacific Ocean. So I wonder if there would be.
There probably was at some time. I really dug into the lake and not the geology for this one because the lake itself is insane.
Right.
But what's up, Linda? How you doing?
Cops out by your house, huh?
No, there's actually a EMT and fire station like
that's right.
quarter mile away.
I knew that.
No, it's real quiet.
Yeah, I could tell.
Not
something I hear often by me.
Yeah. Keep in mind that common for tribes to send people adrift if they didn't fit in. If it's here, they'd land. I think you might be talking about the Pacific.
Well, yeah, trying to find how somebody got to Hawaii, perhaps.
Yeah. I don't know if I like that theory about someone getting set adrift if they didn't fit in, because one person landing somewhere, he just kind of eventually fades away.
Well, I think people are people, right? So, like, you would have issues in a tribe at some point. Like, there'd be a split of groups or, explorers that had enough and just, all right, I'm taking a crew and we're leaving.
Yeah, my issue with that theory comes from how much inbreeding would be done and how large of a group you would need to sustain a population that doesn't end up like 1300s royal families.
I wonder how many people that would be. I know down in that's a different story for a different time.
Let's try and stay on top.
Yeah. I was gonna go in the weeds, man. We were about to get into Polynesian culture real hard.
Oh, all right. Let's do
Mistress Meg. Hello, welcome. Appreciate you.
What's up, Meg?